action, Kotak Mahindra Bank will be in focus after the RBI lifts supervisory restrictions on the bank, allowing them to resume onboarding new customers and issuing credit cards. My colleague Vishwanath Nair joins us to give more details on this.
Right, Anushi. So, as you said, the Reserve Bank of India has removed the restrictions placed on Kotak Mahindra Bank. This was, of course, the restrictions that were placed back in April of 2024. Essentially, what had happened at that point in time was that the Reserve Bank of India found certain lapses in the IT infrastructure of the bank. In their audit of 2022 and 2023, they found that severe IT lapses had caused outages, hours and hours of business outages at Kotak Mahindra Bank, including services of the UPI. This concerned the regulator. They raised this issue with the bank, and the bank was not forthcoming in a quick resolution for the problem. So that's why the restrictions were placed in the first place. Now, last evening, the Reserve Bank of India has come out with a statement saying that they are satisfied with the resolution that the bank has done over the last 9 odd months. And because of this, they are removing the restrictions. So what can Kotak Mahindra Bank do? It can now issue fresh credit cards to its customers. It can also onboard customers using the digital route, which means that customers can open an account using their cell phones or their computers. This is important because in these 9 months odd, Kotak Mahindra Bank itself has announced that they have faced about 450 crore worth of financial impact on their balance sheet, which is not very high and is very close to what the initial estimates were of the financial impact for Kotak Mahindra Bank. Secondly, the bank believes that this has allowed them to focus more on cross-selling of products. It has helped them to front-end services being digitized more so that customer services can be done properly. So all in all, this is a major relief for Kotak Mahindra Bank. A major hangover on the stock has been removed now, and we can finally see under Ashok Vaswani how the unsecured piece of Kotak Mahindra Bank's portfolio grows ahead.
Certainly a big relief is what we are looking for Kotak Mahindra Bank. Thanks for that, Vishwanath. But moving on to a couple of earnings which will be in focus. On the consumer side, we have Mahima with a set of her list. Hi, morning Mahima, what are you picking up?
Morning. So my list today includes 4 stocks. I'll start with Consumer Greaves, Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals. In terms of the Q3 numbers, revenue was up 4.5%, EBITDA was up 25%, margins stood at 10.6%, and net profit was up 28%. However, the company did kind of miss a double-digit growth this particular quarter, and this is after 5 quarters straight of double-digit growth. In terms of ECD segment, it grew by around 6%. Lighting segment grew by 3%, and Butterfly Gandhimati revenues were flat. So thumbs down for this particular counter. Honasa Consumer is the next counter that will definitely be in focus because the company has now swung into profitability after making a loss last quarter because of a one-time inventory correction. Revenues up 6%, EBITDA down 24%, margins at 5%, and net profit was flat at 26 crore. But revenue pretty much in line, but EBITDA and net profit definitely were better than what was estimated. Key categories saw an 18% growth in overall 9 months FY25. They grew market share and household penetration was observed, is what they've mentioned in their press release. And Project Neve is now completed, which was basically the company opening 50 distribution points in tier 1 and tier 2 cities. Quick commerce for them grew by 200% YOY, so that's a good. In short, it's a thumbs up for Honasa Consumer in terms of Q3 earnings. The third one on my list is PN Gadgil, where revenue is up 23%, net profit was up 49%, EBITDA saw a growth of 33%, margins stood at 5% versus 4.7%. So thumbs up again for this particular counter. Overall, festive season demand, picked up for the company, and which is shown in the numbers as well. Revenue per store was around 127 odd crores. Retail segment grew around 42% almost. E-commerce grew by 98%. Franchisee grew by 87%. They saw an uptick of 36% in their overall footfalls, and conversion rate was as high as 93.7%. And the stud ratio was 38.7%, and overall studded jewelry forms about 8% of the total company's total revenues. Lastly, Dollar Industries, again thumbs up. Revenue was up 14.8%, EBITDA up 27%. Margins improved to 10.9 versus 9.8, and net profit was up almost 13% for the company. So again, festive season has kind of picked up for the company. Total volumes grew by 8.2%. Modern trade and e-commerce grew by almost 35%. Thermal grew by 21%, and Force Next grew by around 13.8%. This is both in terms of value. For thermal, volumes grew by around 19.5 times, and force next volumes grew by around 23 odd percent. So all of these four counters in the consumer space will be in focus on the back of Q3 earnings.